Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. Well, it is an exciting day today because we are finally ready to talk to you guys about some plans that we've been making that we've been purposely keeping secret for almost a year.
Kevin and I have finalized our plans for a house here at the farm property, and today is the day that we want to share those plans with you.
But before we do that, there are a couple other things that we want to talk to you about just real briefly because we've been getting a lot of questions. We've been getting a lot of, let's just call them comments on some of our recent videos, and we want to address some of those things with you. Now, some of you have noticed that maybe for the last 6 weeks or so, things haven't been maybe completely normal here on our channel. Some of our videos have been a little bit shorter. We've been doing more just kind of update videos, and we've been doing less of our just normal, big projects and things like that. So we want to address some of that with you today and kind of talk about, not only our channel, but YouTube channels in general, and how even though we share a lot of our lives online, there's always things going on in the background that either we're not willing to share because they're personal, private matters, or because they're just insignificant things but may, take up time off of camera.
In our situation, one thing that has been affecting us and the homestead is that Kevin's dad has been having some medical issues for the past almost 2 months now, right. starting way back in Mother's Day weekend. He's been just kind of in and out of the hospital, emergency room visits, since Mother's Day, all of Mother's Day weekend, all of Father's Day weekend, times in between that, and that's just made things not quite as normal for us here on the homestead. Kevin's been spending a lot of time with them and time at the hospital and helping with the whole transition to and from the hospital, so things just haven't been quite the same. Right,
yeah, without getting into a lot of detail, a lot of you already know that my dad is a Vietnam vet. He was exposed to Agent Orange during the Vietnam War, and because of that, he has a lot of health issues. Some of those have kind of peaked recently. He's doing great right now. He's back at home right now. But those things have just kind of popped up on and off over the last couple months, and that's taken me away from the homestead more than I would like to be. But you guys, family needs to come first, so I don't consider that a burden to be away from the homestead, but it does, in those situations, kind of make more work for Sarah that she needs to do when I'm gone, but it also, kind of puts a halt on some of the bigger projects that we had planned as well. So just so you guys kind of have some context there, that's one of the things that's kind of been slowing us down a little bit over the last couple months here on the homestead.
Also, in that same time frame, Kevin and I have worked through COVID.
Right.
We both had COVID. We're both better from COVID, but as you all know, that puts a strain on things, and you just can't do as many things around the house and around the homestead as you need to.
Right.
You just have to recuperate and rest and get through it.
Right. Yeah, we've never wanted our channel to be a place where we just kind of complain about the work of homesteading or complain about, we try to keep a positive channel. So we've never really wanted to, share all of the kind of downs with you guys. We do share from time to time when things are going on. And we thought maybe we've done a disservice this time by not sharing just a little bit more, so you guys had some context of what was kind of going on behind the scenes. But those are just a couple things. There have been other things going on as well. One of which we want to share with you today, but there's been other, just projects going on in the background too that we're not really ready to share. So all of those things have just kind of changed our schedule around a little bit. We're hoping that a lot of those are going to come to an end real soon, and that we'll be back to, just kind of normal homestead life, at least for the foreseeable future.
Okay, now let's kind of get back to the point of the video, and that is the exciting plan sharing of what we're going to be doing for a house here at the farm property. Now that requires quite a bit of backstory, and so we want to take you guys back About 2 years ago from now, we had the opportunity to buy this beautiful farm property.
The way that we originally acquired this property was really, we really think, a blessing from God. This property was never for sale. It just happened to come up in a conversation one day with a neighbor. His family owned this property. In fact, his mom, who was in the nursing home here in town, still owned this property. She has since passed away in the past 2 years while we've owned this place. But just kind of through a random conversation one day, we got to talking about what might happen to this piece of land someday. The family let us know that, you know, the next generation of their family weren't farmers. They weren't wanting to live way out in the country like this. And so we were able to work a deal where we were able to purchase this piece of land, even though it was officially never up for sale.
Now, when we bought this farm property, there was a small farmhouse here. It had been built maybe 70 or more years ago.
It was about around 1940.
Right. It was a small house. When we did some measuring, it ended up being about 700 square feet.
Right.
So a small house. And we knew when we were buying the property that the house wouldn't be something that would stay here permanently. It was a wonderful blessing when Kevin's parents came to stay here and they decided to move here.
Right.
It was a place where they could stay until they found the house that they wanted to live in permanently. And so it has served as a wonderful place for us kind of in the interim and until we figured out what we wanted to do permanently. But we pretty much knew all along that that small farmhouse wouldn't be a permanent place for Kevin and I and our family.
Right. Now, originally we had hoped that there may be some way to either add on to that small farmhouse or to completely remodel it, something like that. But you guys, as we started to do more inspections on it and as we started to really kind of uncover things, it became pretty clear, kind of as we suspected all along, was that the old farmhouse here was kind of past its life expectancy. There were some pretty major foundation issues. All of the electrical wiring in the house would have needed to be replaced. And you guys, after consulting with contractors and inspectors and everything else, we all agreed that the best course of action was going to be to tear down that old farmhouse here on the farm property. So as you can see, the old farmhouse that was here has been completely removed. That process actually started back in February of this year is when we actually started tearing down that house, and it took several months before that process was completely finished. But the process to figure out what we were going to do to replace the old farmhouse, that actually started last summer.
There were a lot of options for us to consider for a new house down here at the farm. We had considered building a completely new stick-built house.
Right. We talked to a couple contractors, but to be honest, when it came right down to it, we could not find a contractor who was willing to come all the way out here and build a house. We found some that were willing to do part of the job. We found, you know, but we just never could find a general contractor who was willing to come all the way out to where we are and do an entire project. So we ruled that out pretty quickly.
Another option that we considered was building a barn dominium,
Right.
which is kind of like a big metal barn that you then turn into a house.
Right.
And we had contacted the company that built our big workshop here to see if they could do something for us. And that was a direction that we were actually heading at one point.
Yeah, at one point we actually thought the barn dominium route was the route we were going to go. But kind of just like with a stick-built house, when it came right down to it, we would have had to coordinate every one of the subcontractors to come out here and do each part of the job. And that was just something we didn't have the time for. And it was just going to be too difficult to find all of those people to come out and do all of the things that needed to be done.
So the last option that we considered was a house or a type of house that could be built off-site and then brought onto the farm property. And there are really two types of homes that can happen with. One is a manufactured home and the other is a modular home.
Right. Now, if you're not familiar with the difference between the two, a manufactured home is like a mobile home or a trailer home, or there's lots of different names for them. But basically, it'll be brought on and it's built on like a metal frame, and that frame actually stays under the house when the house is delivered. And those types of houses typically aren't considered real estate. They're considered personal property, at least here in Missouri. And so that wasn't a route that we wanted to go for a lot of different reasons, but that wasn't a route we wanted to go. We actually ended up going with a modular home, which for us is going to be the perfect option. Now, a modular home is built with the same construction as a house that would be built in place, or a stick-built house. It's built to the same specifications, and when the house is brought onto the property, it's actually put onto a permanent foundation and permanently put into place just as if it were built right here on the property. That is the direction we decided to go. So we actually ended up placing an order for a modular home last November. And just within the last month, the foundation has finally gotten put in and we're preparing for that house.
So you guys, here it is behind us, the foundation of the new house that will be placed here for us soon.
Now, we've been kind of doing all of this in the background without you guys knowing what's going on, which has made filming here on the farm a little bit more difficult from time to time. We actually, when we placed the order for the home back in November, we were told that the house would be ready by May. Obviously, that isn't the case. Just like with everything else, things have gotten delayed, but we are now told that the house should be coming sometime around the middle to end of August, and we're super excited about that.
The new house is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. We've actually placed the foundation pretty much in the same location that the old house was in. It's actually 10 feet back this way, a little bit farther than the original house.
Yeah, the original owner of this property, he had picked out a great location for a house. And so originally we had thought maybe there would be a way to put a house in a different area, but as we looked around, the views from this area are so nice, and the way we've kind of rearranged things in other parts of the homestead, having the house in the same spot is going to give us some great things to look at from inside the house. In fact, we want to take you guys over and kind of show you around from the foundation, kind of what we'll be seeing when we look out the windows of our new house.
So I'm actually standing here. This is kind of where the kitchen will be. There is a nice kitchen window in front of the sink, and there's also sliding glass doors. And this view, you guys, outside this side of the house is going to be so wonderful to be looking out. As I'm looking straight out from here, I can see the garden, I can see the chicken coops. To the right will be where the pigs are going to be. This is just going to be such a fantastic view. At this time of day, which is evening, the sun is starting to go down, the light is so beautiful. I just can't wait to be cleaning up the kitchen or relaxing at the end of the day in the kitchen at the kitchen table and be able to look out here. This is just a beautiful view, but nothing can top the view at the front of the house.
So we're over at the front of the house. The living room will be kind of over in this area. The front door of the house will be somewhere right around in this area. And you guys, the views from this side of the house are absolutely amazing. Well, it really feels good for us to finally be able to start sharing some of this exciting news with you guys. I know we've been talking for, gosh, over a year now with you guys about the fact that we would be selling the homestead property and we'd be moving to the farm. We just wanted to make sure before we shared too much about all of that, that we really had all of our ducks in a row and we knew exactly what was going to be happening.
We're excited to bring you guys along with the rest of the process. You know, bringing a house onto a farm from states away is quite an endeavor. And in order to get the house parts, or it'll come in 2 parts, in order for that to get off of the semi and onto the foundation, they require a giant crane. So it's quite an ordeal. We hope to be able to bring you along for that.
Yeah, it's going to be fun over the next few months just to, you know, kind of finish this process, to have the house actually brought in, finish all of the, you know, groundwork that needs to be done around the house. And you guys, we're excited that you're going to be along for that part of this experience.
You guys, if you're enjoying our channel and our videos, make sure that you hit the subscribe button below. And remember, the best way that you can help us here is to just share our videos on your social media. Until next time, thank you so much for stopping by our homestead. Take care and God bless.
God bless.